All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Good evening, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. First on the agenda for a public hearing is Rudovic Bridal Shop, 1707 Route 6. Mike, Rich, Pat, I believe you had no comments.
Pat prepared a final site plan resolution for you, for the board to consider on this.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard on this?
Mr. Chairman, as there are no public comments, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'll offer the resolution of the Planning Board of the Town of Carmel, number 20-18, November 24th, 2020, tax map number 55.6-1-12, Rudovic Bridal Shop, 1707 Route 6, final site plan.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice
you.
working with you.
And you all have a great Thanksgiving.
You too.
And a safe one.
Very nice working with you on this.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for the
Happy
masks. These are great.
Stillwater Business Park, 105 Stillwater Road, on for a public hearing today. Mike, I believe, no comments from yourself?
No, I
Rick?
have a comment left.
Oh, please, go ahead. Oh, you sent, yes.
Yep, I sent it out. A notice of violation was issued on this property in February of 16. Shortly after that, an NOV was issued. An architect came into my office. We discussed the process of legalizing the issues. They came in and then stopped coming in. Then they had a second architect, actually was an engineer the second time. Almost a year later, came in, submitted plans, started doing the work, same thing, did not come in. Now they hired Inside Engineering. Inside Engineering has been doing this since pretty much all of this year, I believe. Their submission came in earlier this year. Variance was granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals for a rear storage building, and it is noted on the plat. They provided a rendition of the tree buffer from Stillwater Road, and as requested by the neighbors, the westerly access is now entrance only. This is helpful as it will minimize the headlights glaring into the houses across the street.
Thank you, Mike. And Rich?
I have comments also, Mr. Chairman. Applicant has noted the referrals. Applicant has noted the permits that are needed. They have not addressed the New York City DEP protection per watershed rules and regulations within a limiting distance to reservoir stem, so they need to address that. They've provided the SWIP, which is under review. They provided some information with regards to the traffic and vehicle site distances proposed at each driveway have been specified. Calculations must be provided. They've noted that the proposed driveway on the west side of the property has been converted to a one-way enter only, so the site distance exiting the proposed driveway will not be a concern. The applicant will still need to provide those site distance calculations for the other driveways on the site. Applicant noted that a stormwater maintenance agreement would be needed. Applicant also noted the comment with regards to public improvements, performance bond, and engineering fee. The applicant should note that a performance bond associated engineering fee is minimally required for stormwater management practice, erosion and sediment control, drainage features, landscaping, etc. installed on the site. See section 15661J and K of the town code for additional info. Drainage system profiles still need to be provided. They need to provide some information, depth of groundwater, where the infiltration practices are going to be there. They haven't been provided in an updated SWIP. So it's just some minor comments that could easily be addressed, Mr. Chairman. They just need to be addressed before any resolutions are given.
Would you like to speak to Rich's comments, please?
Yes, so there are some outstanding.
Is your microphone on? Speaking to a little louder, please, just.
Yes, is that better?
That's better.
We have a handful of minor items that we're going to continue to address with Mr. Franzetti. We have, in fact, heard from the DEP. We've reached back out, and that dialogue is ongoing, and so we'll be able to update going forward on that. And then, apart from that, I think we had a few other, drainage profiles, and those items will be provided.
Right, so for the resolution, I'm going to need to have those performance bond numbers and engineering fees calculated and reviewed before we get there. It's going to be part of the resolution. So that's going to be needed also.
Okay, understood.
Any comments from anyone on the board?
Mr. Chairman, one more thing. They did provide some renderings. I don't know if anybody saw them, as requested by the board.
Could we get them? Do you
Be
have
able to show
copies?
these?
Yes. Let me set it up.
You can have it. I don't know if he has a bunch.
Yeah, it's,
Oh, there you go.
oh, nice.
Yes. So the few items that have changed since the last time we discussed this last month that we wanted to highlight, one were the inclusion of some additional trees, specifically on the west end near the proposed driveway. There was a request to bulk up the landscaping in that area, which we've done. And then, of course, the inclusion of the stone masonry wall along the frontage in front of the relocated building. And what we've done there is taken the look and the approximate height of an existing wall that's a little further down on the east end near the entrance by the scale. And we're taking that, carrying it through with a wall in that location, which does a couple things for us. I think it's a nice aesthetic to carry that classic stone wall from one end and bring it in, further down the frontage. But of course, in addition to that, it puts our plantings and landscaping that are in that area the full 2.5, 3 foot higher on the day that they're planted than would otherwise be the case. And so, as was mentioned, per the request of the board, we've provided this rendering. You can see the main image kind of shows the stone wall, the plantings behind, and then the inset at the bottom shows the current existing condition, which is some lawn and a chain link fence, and the site somewhat open to view. So I think a big improvement based on what we're showing in the plan, kind of rendered out. So we're looking from, in that view, we're looking from Stillwater Road, kind of southeast into the site.
I think there's been several improvements to the site for those that have been out there. The yard's cleaned up significantly, and I think this added buffer is terrific, and as Mike pointed out, the one-way traffic on that western entrance, it was really important from a neighbor point of view. Does anyone from the public wish to be heard on this? Please, state your name when you come up, and you'll have to use a microphone, so maybe please social distance. Is there one particular one I should take? Either.
This is going to hurt. Oh, right? Okay, there we go. Can I?
Sure,
will this
please.
be seen by cameras over here? Is it okay if I stand here?
Yeah.
All right. Of course, it's not going to be wide enough. Okay.
Your name for the record, please?
My name is Robert Bowman. I'm a resident on the 96 Stillwater Road in Mayapack. So I'd like to thank the honorable members of the planning board for allowing me to speak tonight. I'm getting a sense of deja vu tonight because, like past nights here in Town Hall, Daniel Maloney has a project in front of a board seeking all-inclusive approval for things that have already been in place for years. In fact, almost 2 decades. Let's not mince words here. I can provide minutes from meetings where residents raised concerns of excavations on these properties. But the only things raised through the years were the ground and buildings in violation of town and Carmel zoning codes. Applications or site plans were never submitted per Carmel zoning code 156-43D application procedure for the row of buildings on the southern border of these properties, nor for the 5,000 some odd square foot building he wants to relocate towards Stillwater Road, in place of the currently existing house. These buildings have been erected for years. Under the guise of adding an additional 60,000 square foot building, Mr. Maloney is seeking to have these structures approved after the fact. If you look at the board at document number 1, this is a portion of the original subdivision plat submitted to the town in 1973 by Richard Gore. This portion is the southwest corner of parcel 86.05-1-26. If you look at the elevation lines, the southwest corner of parcel is shown to be approximately 518 feet. So this line here is 520, this is 518, that's the corner. If you look at document number 2, it's the same area from the site plan currently in front of the planning board. Notice the elevation above this wall is 540 feet. So this ground has been raised over 20 feet in violation of the Town of Carmel Zoning Code 156-43D concerning the approval to perform excavations or regrading. An interesting item on this site plan is this wall with a sharp drop-off right here. It goes down from 540 feet right down to 518 feet. Now, I asked the surveyor from Insight to see the specifications on the wall and was told there weren't any and that this is an existing wall. I can tell you this is not the case. If you look at document number 3, not only will you see the unauthorized building that currently exists, but you will also notice that there is no wall here. Basically, there's a railing and just some rocks piled up. So there is no wall with an abrupt drop-off to ground level as depicted on the site plan. See right here, there's like grades down. And it basically goes right into the wetland itself. Here it shows 540 feet, sudden drop down to 518 feet. Instead, there's an actual slight grade, downgrade to ground level, which goes right across the wetlands buffer into the edge of the actual wetlands. So not only did Mr. Maloney violate crossing the property line in order to produce this downgrade, he encroached on a wetland buffer with the potential of runoff from this property being dumped directly into wetlands, which contain water that is directed to a reservoir for consumption by people. I'm sure the New York Department of Environmental Protection will be interested to learn that runoff from this parcel is potentially being dumped directly into drinking water, and I'm perplexed why this was not realized during the environmental impact study. If it is Mr. Maloney's intent to construct this wall in order to reinstate the wetlands buffer, basically admitting and correcting his mistake, then I demand that prior to approval of the site plan, that the construction of this wall be a precondition, to include drawings and structural analysis of this wall, since it is going to be at least 20 feet high. Because once you approve the site plan as is, I can almost guarantee you this wall will never happen, at which point I would expect the town and DEP to force Mr. Maloney to correct this potential contamination issue. Another issue with the raising of the ground is that a drainage easement was violated. As plain as day on a survey map as it pertains to the drainage easement along the south border of these properties, it states, and I quote, "No fill to be added in this area." So because he raised this up 20 feet, he filled in that drainage easement. Another major issue I have with the site plan is the proposed driveway on the west side of parcel 75.17-1-53, as depicted on document 4. In a previous meeting, one of the members of the planning board had concerns about this driveway being an annoyance to residents across the street. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I don't see this driveway as being anything else but an annoyance to residents, especially when there is more than enough road frontage on the east side of the relocated building that will impact fewer residents, basically up here instead of down here. As you can see, these are driveways, residential driveways, right across the street from this. When this site plan was first submitted weeks ago, I notified Mr. Carnazza that a flatbed truck was leaving the property like clockwork 3 times a week between the hours of 3:30 and 4 o'clock a.m. They have stopped since I notified Mr. Carnazza, but still get the occasional departures at 5 a.m. Now imagine what it would be like to have a tractor-trailer trucking down this proposed driveway with its headlights shining on residential houses in the middle of the night. I would like to see this driveway located to the east side of the parcel, 86.05-1-26, and have traffic depart east on Stillwater Road in order to disturb less residents and get to Route 6 quicker instead of the longer residential route of going down Route 6N. I would not be opposed to have the proposed relocated 5,000 square foot building move a little further west so as to block the unsightly mess that still exists. In fact, the original site plan with the longer proposed 6,000 square foot runway, building, I know now they have more of a square one, but I think the 6,000 one, which is longer, would have made a nice L shape to block noise and light coming from the area. Speaking of light, the light emitted from the light fixtures coming down from these parcels and the main building on the adjoining parcel shine directly down on the neighborhood, making it appear like a full moon is out every night. I would like to see some deflectors on these lights or have fixtures that are installed pointing down instead of outward. And don't get me started on the lighted sign that is 5 times larger than it should be. I would also like the planning board make it a condition that no vehicles or clutter are stored on the west side of the proposed 6,000 square foot building and the north side of the relocated 5,000 square foot building. Basically, anything in front of here or anything over here. And I wouldn't be opposed to this building actually skirting up to the property line a little more. It would also be nice if the trucks and trailers parked along the fence on Stillwater Road be moved somewhere else further back on the property, as this is still an eyesore. And I understand that there's a new drawing I just saw. So if that's the way it's going to look, that would be fine. Because my last concern is that every fence and wall bordering Stillwater Road now do not have the proper setback from the road in accordance with zoning ordinances. If you look at these two pictures, you will see that some of the fencing is not even 3 feet from the road, and utility poles are actually located inside the fence line. Here and here. Oh, look, a garbage truck just in time for Thanksgiving. Wonderful. So again, I'd like to thank the board for allowing me to speak, and do hope you take these concerns into consideration. It has been challenging residing across the street from these properties, especially when projects are done without approval and without consideration for the residents. With some assistance from the planning board in regard to the residents from Mr. Maloney, perhaps this project can become a little more bearable. Thank you and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Have you submitted that are we aware of that document, Rich or Mike? Joe?
Not that I'm aware, it has not been submitted to Rose, and or else she would have shared it, so.
I think that should get submitted.
Yeah, obviously, we all listened to your comments tonight, but I really think you should submit it to the town so we have a chance to really look at it. Mike, I don't know if you or Rich want to comment, or Joe want to comment on the gentleman's.
Will comment.
What document are you referring to?
He just read it. We don't have a copy of the document.
Oh, you mean the document that he just read from?
Yeah. Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
it's up to the applicant whether he wants to submit that and make it part of the record, or whether you'll just accept your oral testimony, that's all.
Would you like to have it right now?
Yeah, if you want to leave it or just give it to the planning board secretary, she'll make it part of the record.
You can leave it here tonight with that.
Okay. You can take these two?
Yep. Both of them.
Yeah, take everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the record should be clear that, based on the testimony at the public hearing, he's submitting not only his oral statement, but the 2 mortar boards with those exhibits.
And I'm not sure if Mike or Rich or anyone from the board have any comments at this time on this.
No, I think it's too.
Well, I think some things that he just read need to be looked into.
Yeah.
Lighting, signage. I know I haven't seen anything as far as signage. So lighting, if it's intrusive to the neighborhood, to the residents, it's something that, we need to look into.
Right, yeah, I can speak to a number of the concerns,
Sure.
not all.
One other before you start, the environmental the runoff from the property into the wetlands, I think also we need to hear more about.
Yeah, maybe it's hard to capture every comment that we just heard. That's why I like to get it in writing also, so we can address it. But if you'd like to speak to it now, that's
Yeah,
terrific.
I just had a few notes, a few things that I can
Sure.
speak to. You know, I think the commentary, I believe, started in regard to zoning codes. Anything that is currently proposed on our plan, with the exception of the variance that was received in October, meets zoning. You know, we're not seeking any other variances. So everything that's proposed here as part of this specific project is, you know, meets any kind of zoning requirements. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. There was a comment about the driveway. Again, you know, we're showing that as going to one way in. So, you know, that should alleviate any concerns of headlights coming, you know, down the driveway at, you know, early hours. And then as far as moving the driveway to the east, it doesn't really work from a circulation standpoint. The purpose of the driveway on the west end is to alleviate the tightness, some pinch points in that area, and create a smoother circulation pattern through the site. To jam it up against near where like the scale is or further to the east doesn't really work for what's trying to be achieved. As far as any proposed lighting, there was concern about lighting, you know, leaving the site. We've presented a photometric plan that shows any new proposed lighting is staying within the site, and all of the fixtures that are shown there are full cutoff, dark sky rated fixtures. And then there was a comment about the fence. There is existing a fence along the frontage on Stillwater Road. In our most recent submission here, we are showing that to be relocated. So that would be taken out of that area, and we're putting that behind the plantings that we're showing. You can actually see in the rendering, you can just make out a little bit of the fence that would be sitting behind those trees. And so we're moving that out, moving that kind of out of sight. Still there for security purposes, obviously, but being moved out of sight. And just want to see if I had anything else that I could speak to just off the cuff. Yeah, and I as far as the specifics go, I think that's what I was able to pick up on. But just generally, I wanted to just reiterate the spirit and purpose of this project are, one, to increase some capacity for storage, but also to take a lot of what, you know, we've heard frequently described as a mess and screen it, store it in a more appropriate way. And the proposed condition that we're showing, you know, you can see in the rendering, is a big leap from the current existing condition. So we're looking to alleviate a lot of the concerns that were brought up by the gentleman through just through the nature of what we're trying to do with the site plan.
So the trees that are shown on the plan, are they to scale? They're going to be large
Going
pine
in, I
trees? You're
think
not going to, you know, there's going to be a drawing or a legend that's going to tell you the size of the.
Yeah, so the planting schedule will have the specified size. I think we were showing them as going in at, I think it was 8 to 10 feet, not having it right in front of me, but I believe that was the specified height. So again, those ones will be coming in at the, 2.5, 3 foot higher than the existing grade level, and then you'll have the 8 to 10 foot, which is what I believe we specified in the schedule. And those are mostly spruces, other evergreen trees that will grow relatively quickly, put on a foot or two a year.
What about the resident's other comment about the corner of the property where he believes there was some changing in the grading and the height of the property?
Yeah, that I can't speak to. I think as was mentioned earlier, Insight was brought into the project, earlier this year. The condition or anything that happened on the site, prior to that, I can't really speak to. We have a survey that we've been working off of, and I can't speak to, what's happened prior to our involvement in the project.
Can we get some commentary from maybe Joe on the relevance of a previous condition where maybe, as the gentleman alleges, Phil was brought in violation of whatever restrictions apply. Property was built up and created a runoff condition that didn't exist before into the wetlands. Is that something this board should concern itself with?
I'm not quite sure what you're asking me to address, a
I don't know if it's
hypothetical.
in our purview or not, is the question.
Well, it's certainly within, absolutely, it's within your purview. I mean, at some point, this matter is going to be referred to the ECB as well. Those issues that were just raised can certainly be analyzed by our consultants, but it's difficult to address them as we sit here.
Joe, I agree. I mean, we all listened. It's hard to address right now without looking at them, address them, looking at them, talking to consultants, look at them, going out there and look at the site. I do think there's been a lot of improvements made to address a gentleman's concerns with the buffer, for instance, with the driveway for another. You mentioned the new lighting. I'm kind of curious what the old lighting looks like too, although that's not in front of us here tonight. And I myself have been out there a couple of times, but during the day. So I will go out during the night one time to see if it lights up the neighborhood. I also agree that that truck that is parked, if it's still parked there, should not be there in the future, even with the buffer. But I also noted that when I've gone out there, you've done, in my mind, a great job cleaning up the yard so far. Anthony, did you have some comments?
No, I'd like to read the comments that were presented from the public, but if I heard correctly, there is implications that there's outstanding issues on the property, and I'd like, to put that to bed first and see are there any violations that still exist on this property before we go any further. I think that's step one. If there's any legitimacy to the accusations of violations.
There are alleged violations on the property.
There are.
Yes.
And have you taken this step, are you aware of those violations?
I think, Mike's made us aware that there have been.
And I would also like then to hear the plan for correcting those violations. And if this map does do that, we should go through that point by point at our next meeting.
Yeah, one of the reasons why the applicant is here is to address the concerns that have been raised over the years by the building department. There have been allegations of violations of the town code. NOVs have been issued, written NOVs. Mike has worked with previous consultants on behalf of the applicant with respect to this project in an effort to clean up this site. So this is a global effort to clean up the site, make sure that there are no town code violations. So when we are done, there should not be a single town code violation on that site.
This is a good opportunity then. It's actually a good opportunity. Did you want to get up and?
Yes, I'd like to rebut something that
I do think, Joe, this is a good opportunity for us then. Restate your name, please.
Robert Bowman. As I said before, I have no problem moving that relocated 5,000 square foot building a little further west where the driveway was going to be to provide more, because he mentioned something about pinch points over on the east side. So if they can move that building over a little more, not have the driveway there at all.
Are you
Because
are
I mean,
you talking about the current house that's there?
yes.
The building? Okay.
Yeah, that's where the 5,000 square foot building is going to be relocated to that spot. If they can move that a little further west, that would also block a lot of the sight lines and the lights shining down in the neighborhood too. Like I said, if it made like a little L shape, we wouldn't have to see all the stuff up there that's currently there. So I have no problem having that building moved a little further west, get rid of that driveway, because we can sit here tonight and say, yeah, it's going to be one way, yeah, it's going to be one way, but you know what? It's not going to be one way. I can tell you from experience. So I have no problem moving that driveway a little further on the east side of that building and move the building a little further west so we don't have to deal with it. It impacts less residents.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and to that, I would reiterate that, again, the purpose of, having two entrances, two access points, essentially right next to each other is not helpful. The idea with the other proposed entrance would be to create a smoother circulation, a safer circulation flow through there. And we're as has been noted, we've been taking a lot of measures. We've added a lot of plantings. We've added, a lot of features to mitigate the view. We've reduced our proposed two-way drive to a one-way. You know, we've made certain concessions, and the idea is really to shift the driveway next to another driveway isn't really helping the circulation on the site, and that's one of the objectives of the site plan.
Okay.
And to further to that point, we've shown vehicle maneuvers of typical vehicles that would come through the site, and some of those maneuvers we'd have to look back and see, you know, what would be possible as far as what we've shown.
Is there anyone else from the public that wishes to be heard tonight on this? Please, you can come up again.
I'm sorry, but I don't understand this circular motion thing going on here, because it's not like there's constantly traffic moving around that place. So I just don't understand why there has to be an entrance right in front of our houses and an exit on the other side. I don't see why they just can't put another one next to the existing driveway, maybe a little bit further over. It's going to impact less people.
The board's gonna look at what you submitted tonight,
Okay.
and we will address it. We will leave the public hearing open also, so that you'll get another opportunity to come back and talk to us.
Thank you very much, and happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Any other comments from anyone? Otherwise, I propose to leave the public hearing open until we can look at and analyze the new information tonight. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Old Forge Estates, Baldwin Place Road, cluster subdivision. Hi, Paul.
Good evening.
Good evening. Mike?
This is on for resolution. All my comments have been addressed.
Rich?
Same here. Pat had no comments. He did provide the board a subdivision approval resolution for the property.
Okay. Anyone on the board have any comments? I believe we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. Improvements were made to the plan. Community sewer, community water, we touched on that. Any other questions? If not, do we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for the amended preliminary subdivision approval resolution of the Planning Board of the Town of Carmel, number 20-15, November 24th, 2020, tax map number 75.15-1-19-40, Old Forge Estates.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanksgiving. We're off that now, but
I just want a quick question on where I can obtain the list of residents that were noticed, because it seems like I'm the only person that got notice about the meeting tonight.
you can speak to Rose in the office,
Okay.
please. You can call town, they'll connect her with you.
Thank you, sir.
Itzler subdivision 9 Mechanic Street. On for resolution. Mike?
Same comment. This is on for resolution. All my comments have been addressed.
Rich?
Same here, Mr. Chairman, and also you have two resolutions in front of you as provided by Pat. One is for the final subdivision approval, and the other one is a secret determination.
I believe we're all very familiar with this property. Any questions? This was the property being divided, fully compliant. I believe they said the owner's daughter was going to move next door. That's really irrelevant. The property is compliant, so do we have a motion?
We do the secret one first, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll offer the resolution of the Planning Board of the Town of Carmel, number 20-16, November 24th, 2020, tax map number 55.14-1-6, Itzler subdivision, seeker determination of significance, negative declaration.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We need one more motion on this to adopt the subdivision?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for the final subdivision approval resolution of the Planning Board of the Town of Carmel, number 20-17, dated November 23rd, 2020, tax map number 55.14-1-6, Itzler subdivision.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is 14 Nicole Way. On for a resolution. Anyone here for Nicole Way?
We have two resolutions, too.
We can circle back to that.
We have seeker and,
Yeah, we have two
final
motions
site
tonight. We'll have to
plan.
hold off on that, though. Joe, no one's here from Nicole Way, so we'll have to hold it over, right?
Why don't we just wait till the end of the meeting, see if they show up?
Yeah.
They don't just,
Yeah, no, that's why.
I'm surprised.
All right, we'll come back to that. Spins Bowl, 23 Old Route 6, amended site plan. Mike?
The applicant proposes to add an outside entertainment area at the Spins Bowling Alley in Carmel. They wish to add picnic tables, an area for cornhole or other outdoor games, a removable refreshment truck trailer, an axe throwing enclosure, and rearrange the parking area to add accessible parking spaces. The code allows fully enclosed eating and drinking establishments by right and outdoor dining as an accessory use. In addition, the code allows commercial entertainment establishments by right. The addition of the outdoor area does comply with zoning. However, I recommend conditions that limit the hours of operation and possibly the noise. I spoke to him when we had our meeting, and he said they do not go into the later hours with these, but it's something that you may want to think about. You know, there's no houses right there, but it could echo through that valley there. Provide floor plans and elevations of the existing bowling alley and parking calculations so I can ensure compliance with code. There's a bar restaurant on the site. The parking calculation for that area is not one parking spot for every 200 square feet. That's what they wrote on the calculation on the map. So the restaurant actually changes. And I'd like to meet with the architect to discuss that.
Thank you, Mike. Rich?
So Mike suggested what the proposed changes are to the site. The engineering department does not have comments related to the project as long as there are no physical site changes being made to the site, like building and parking areas. Referrals would be needed to the Carmel Fire Department. Details should be provided on how they're going to install these amenities, construction sequence in particular. Proposed plantings should be provided and provide a legend on the drawing.
Did Pat have any comments, Rich?
He did, sir. Again, Mike already expressed what this particular project was. Site's located in a C commercial zoning district. It's an outdoor entertainment area, would be classified as an accessory use to principal bowling alley use. The proposal involves reusing a portion of the existing Spins parking lot. The requirement site is 136 spaces and currently 163 exist. The area of the proposed outdoor entertainment area only supports parking along its perimeter. New designated handicap parking spaces, none exist that currently, are now being proposed along the front of the fenced enclosure. In total, 169 spaces are proposed, it's considerably exceeding the 136 required. Parking stalls in the parking lot should be restriped, clarify the distance between the concrete planter boxes. Ornamental grasses are proposed in the planter boxes. It's recommended more substantial plantings, seasonal flowers, for example, be used to avoid planters being neglected and used as trash receptacles. Outdoor lighting should be restricted to that depicted on the site plan. Over illuminating the area should be avoided. Clarify if amplified outdoor public address or music systems are proposed. Clarify the refreshment truck trailer. Will it be a single vendor or will the vendor change periodically? It is noted that a bar cart will be utilized. Clarify this use and operation. How will the outdoor entertainment area operate in conjunction with the existing bowling alley? Will they operate independently? A dog run is referenced but is not shown on the site plan. Clarification is required.
Bruce.
The primary issue related to this proposal concerns operational aspects. The board may wish to impose appropriate and reasonable operational conditions such as hours of operation, restrictions on entertainment such as live performances, limits on capacity, and seasonal limitations. It's a type 2 action. A and no further seeker environmental review is required. That is from Pat.
Thank you, Rich. Before I open it up to the board, good evening. Why don't you state your name and just give us an overview of what you have planned here? It sounds exciting, but it's a little new for us.
Sure. My name is Bill Diamond. I'm president of Diamond Properties. This is one of our venues. So we're proposing to take some of the underutilized outdoor space, which is the end of that parking lot, which has always sort of been a strange area for the parking lot, and repurpose it for outdoor entertainment and primarily gaming, things like fouling, cornhole, axe throwing, things like that. And the bowling alley is, as everyone knows, is very busy during the winter. And as soon as the weather changes and the leagues end, it goes pretty quiet. So this is really targeted toward our off-season, the spring, summer, early fall, to sort of drive those sorts of activities that Spins Bowl, that people would expect out of Spins Bowl, things like not so much large bar area as much as come there for these outdoor activities, whether it's fouling, axe throwing, cornhole, and the associated types of gaming, things like that. So we're repurposing some of the outdoor space to provide an outdoor area that we think will help the business survive during some of the warmer seasons.
You mentioned having a food truck outside also?
No, actually, it's not a food truck, it's more of a bar cart. So, because we have a kitchen on the inside, we don't anticipate running two kitchens, one for the indoors, one for the outdoors. The outdoor, this would really just be like instead of building a bar, what's trendy these days is you sort of take an Airstream trailer and convert it into a bar, you know, those stainless steel round things. So it's more of just to sort of create a trendy bar area. If someone wants food, they can maybe order it outside, but it would come from the kitchen on the inside.
When we spoke, I asked the question, will the alcohol be stored outside? And the answer to that was no, because I was concerned about security, people getting into the trailer and stealing it, and the gentleman said no. So that was one of the thoughts that I had at the time.
Have you closed on hours of operation yet?
Well, we don't operate any of our venues that late at night. I mean, we typically close all of our venues around midnight. I think once in a while we may go to 1 a.m., but we're not a late night. We're not that kind of a venue. You know, we're more of a family-oriented type venue, and we don't, we never really operate late into the nights.
Questions from the board?
So what kind of sound could neighbors anticipate from the operation?
Well, we'd like to have outdoor music, speakers, just for background music, to set a mood. I don't see this as the music being the entertainment aspect of the property. We are located in a pretty commercial area. We don't have any neighbors bordering us that are residential, you know. We're located, I think, in between the water plant and the boating area, I guess, for
Yeah,
Carmel.
we just voted it. Yep.
Yeah.
I think one of the comments were intent on live music performances. Is that a possibility?
We'd like to leave open for not as a regular occurrence, but maybe on a summer weekend having a live band, whether, you know, a rock band or something. But I mean, that's not the primary motive of what we're trying to do here.
Well, I think there were numerous comments with Mike, Rich, and Pat. My recommendation is to work on a lot of these comments, get it down to a page or so that we could address and look at, and then come back in 2 weeks. And it sounds exciting. It's just quite a bit of comments we need to work on right now.
Sure. Have we been forwarded? Do we have a list of those comments, or?
We'll have Rose forward you those comments.
Okay.
She'll email them out to you. I can give you Pat's, because I have his hard copy. But you can have Mike. I don't have mine hard copy, so.
Sure, I'll take those, yeah.
I think I have Rich, I have a copy of yours if you want it. I just Just gotta find it 1 second. Spins, here it is. Oh,
I've got a copy.
oh, okay.
That's Pat, we got that.
Right, but Pat had some also, so,
Yes, Pat.
okay, you have Pat. So then just work with the consultants, and I don't see any issue getting you back here in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, if you'd like to, just get in touch with Rose when you want to see, if there's any questions you have, you can reach out to any one of the consultants, or just ask to meet with us. I think Pat's in next Wednesday, Monday, I think? I don't even know. He might be in next Monday. I have to double check his schedule. but-
Okay. It was mentioned, is it too early to set up a public comments on this, or, yeah?
Yes, yeah, that's the board's
We'd
decision.
like to get the comments.
Yeah, you have to be almost ready.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, 14 Nicole Way just walked in the door, I believe. On for resolution tonight. Mike, comments?
Yeah, they made a submission, and they did show a row of trees at that area where the neighbor had concerns. They would be on the Nicole Way side of the fenced enclosure for the propane area on the right side, so they did show some trees there.
Rich?
All my comments have been addressed. This is on, what is it, for public hearing, or resolution? I have a copy of where they're going to plant the trees if the board wants to see it.
Sure.
Yes, I like that. Not at all.
So the property, oh, okay, there, yeah, I can see it now. Yep, yeah,
Right there in the lower.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Rich, does it say how tall the trees are gonna be? I couldn't tell on the top copy I got, it was too small.
Yeah, it says 6 to 7 feet is what I'm being told. I don't see it on the front, that doesn't mean it's not there.
And I thought I read that
Yeah, here it is, on the bottom.
the type of,
Hemlock, 6 to 7 feet.
yeah, and I thought I read somewhere that the hemlocks are
Yeah.
expected to grow a couple feet a year.
Right, they go quick.
12 to 24, I think it said.
I appreciate you putting that on there.
Any other I know this has been in front of us for quite some time. I do want to note all the improvements and how well the applicant worked with us. I do really believe, honestly, is that we have a much better project in front of us, certainly a much safer project also. Any other comments? If not, we need a motion for the secret and also a motion to adopt the site plan.
All right, I'll offer the resolution of the Planning Board of the Town of Carmel, number 20-13, November 24th, 2020. Tax map number 65.6-1-22, Zacon, 14 Nicole Way, seeker determination of significance, negative declaration.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Need another motion for the site plan?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for a resolution of the Planning Board of the Town of Carmel, number 20-14, November 24th, 2020. Tax map number 65.6-1-22, Zacon, 14 Nicole Way, final site plan approval.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for working so well with us.
Thank
Appreciate it.
Welcome back.
Last on the agenda tonight is Hillcrest Commons for bond return. Mike?
I have no comments on the bond return.
Rich?
So in response to a request by the applicant, a representative of the engineering department performed a field investigation or inspection of the reference property on November 17th to evaluate the current status of the site construction for the purpose of determining whether a bond return is warranted. The investigations show all work was completed in accordance with the approved site plans. There is a bond, original bond that was posted in the amount of $1,956,725. That amount was reduced to $770,000 by resolution in 2013. We therefore recommend that the remaining bond amount of $770,000 be released. Pat has no comments on it, and I was reminded that this needs to be scheduled for a public hearing by the planning board.
Okay. Any comments from the board? If not, we need a motion to schedule a public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing for the bond return.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No minutes, I don't believe, right?
No.
So then we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Good night.
Thanksgiving.